I have a little DeWalt air compressor.
Preston, you're live.
Thank you.
Talk about our flat tires.
Yeah. And it came from a flat tire experience where both my spare and my tire was flat. So, yeah.
They're essential, I'm telling you, until the battery's dead.
All right, I'd like to call to order the Westerly Public Schools School Building Subcommittee meeting for Wednesday, July 24th. The time is 6:05. Members present: Kristen Federico, Dan Lathrop, Cindy Kirchhoff, Giuseppe Gencarelli, Mike Ober, Dr. Garceau, and myself, Justin Hopkins. We also have our town council liaison, Phil Overton, and guests, friends of the subcommittee, Deb Reading from Downs, our owner's project manager, and Ashley Prester from DBVW. The first, very limited agenda for tonight, but the first order of business is public comment. Any members of the public wish to address the subcommittee? Would you like to? Okay, hearing none, moving on to item number 4, Springbrook remediation. So just to give everybody an update here, we had originally not scheduled this meeting, but held it open for any type of issue that may arise in our construction projects that would require an authorization to move forward with some additional work. So right on cue, we found some items that I'll let Ashley describe.
Okay, well, first, thank you everyone for taking time out to do this. I'm going to make this as quick as possible. So these pictures are a little dark, but these are the existing classrooms in Springbrook, and you can see this is where they were in April of 23. Tons of bookcases, tons of stuff on the walls, and really no direct evidence of anything going on. We, if you remember at the last meeting a couple of weeks ago, we approved the change proposal to remove the vinyl wall covering. Well, we removed the vinyl wall covering, and unfortunately, we've come across some moisture damage on the wall surfaces. So we approved the vinyl wall covering removal on the 10th. By the 16th, the second floor had been removed, and we received an RFI. So that was last Wednesday. Last Thursday, the 17th, we received actually, no, it was Tuesday and Wednesday. Vortex, we called Vortex to find out if they did moisture investigation, which they do. So they went out to the field, provided us a report of their findings at the main level, the upper and lower levels of the classrooms in Springbrook. They issued a field report to us, handwritten, so we could then come up with a change proposal. We met with the CA advisory group, which is the group that was named here, to get the demolition going on some of the wallboard in areas, but the costs to correct this work is going to exceed that, which is why we needed to call this meeting here for you guys. So hopefully we issued the CCD on Monday. That's a construction change directive that basically tells the contractor proceed with the work while we get approval to do to get the funds in place. So what we found is what may have caused this moisture damage. Mark McKinnon had identified that there have been a few roof leaks, which we are correcting now with the roof project. There's a very high concrete slab moisture drive. You can see in those upper couple photos, that's where the floor tile was, and you could see the moisture indication around all the joints. There's some talk in the past, way before any of us were involved in the town, that there might have been some flooding or some kind of moisture infiltration into the building. On the lower left, we found plywood on the bottom 12 inches of the wall in some classrooms underneath the wall covering. That was in order to basically get rid of the drywall and put back something that could be more substantial. So how are we going to address this? Already in the base bid, anywhere where we're replacing slabs, you see all those where we have the replacing flooring, you see the bare concrete slabs. We're putting in something called a moisture vapor emission control. It goes down on almost a completely wet slab and basically locks the moisture down below in the ground. It allows the floor coverings to remain adhere to the floor, and it generally solves the problem anywhere where you put that moisture mitigation in place. We're also currently replacing the roof. So we're fixing both of these issues as we're going. So what additional work is required and why we needed you here today is that we needed to basically the work that they're going to be doing is they're going to putting in some containment so the dust doesn't spread. They're going to be using air scrubbers again because we have some furniture in the rooms. We want to just keep it contained. Remove the suspect gypsum board, and remove the plywood strip. We're going to look at the insulation to see if any of the insulation is compromised behind the wall, replace that if needed, and then install new moisture-resistant gypsum board. New technologies out now that allows gypsum board to be much more moisture-resistant in these locations. And again, we're solving the source of these issues, so there shouldn't be a repeat of this. So basically, here's the damage. I can't see all of it, but we've talked to Tower Construction, and we have the 17 classrooms. We have 12 of them, 19 classrooms. We have 12 of them that have been opened up and looked at right now in the current report. The demolition is the first two numbers. We were trying to get numbers to work with the subgroup to get some approval and demolition going. The new gypsum board in those areas is about 15,000 and change. The two numbers in red, we have not done the work in the kindergarten wing yet. So those are just allowances. Those are, we're not sure. There have been a couple roof leaks in that area, but it's not down in the hole the way that the lower level of the other classroom wing is. So we're hoping, we have to account for it and we have to plan for it, but we're hoping that we don't have to spend much money on those allowances. Same with the insulation. The insulation is behind a vapor barrier, so in theory, that kept any of the moisture away from the insulation. The general contractor has some additional labor and markup, along with bond and insurance. They have additional labor on site to manage these contractors. Are coming in earlier than they anticipated. This work is priced at premium, and the only reason we had to do that is because we have a finite time. We have 4.5 weeks from now until the 23rd of August, when we're turning the school over to the teachers and to Mark McKinnon and his maintenance staff. So there is a little bit of a markup on that. We are going to attempt to recoup some of the costs for skim coating these walls. If I go back here, you can see actually in the lower left what happened when the vinyl wall covering came off. Some of the paper of the drywall came off with it, so we owned skimming those walls. So anywhere where we're taking the drywall off, we would like to save, because we don't need to skim coat the wall anymore. So there's a little bit of cost savings there, but it's from one contractor to another. So we'll see how that translates. So what we're asking for right now is a not to exceed amount of $86,351.02. We're hoping that's going to be about 40 to 45,000 less, but we won't know until we get into the kindergarten. We don't want to come back to you again with another ask. We'd rather ask for more and then not spend it.
And does this include all the mold, like double checking mold eradication and all that, or is that
I'll get into some of the inspections and stuff for the moisture and that kind of thing. Okay. In a bit. And in the next slide, I'll show you what Vortex is offering to do and provide services for us. So.
But any damage or any other concerns would be addressed through this by cutting out sections of the gypsum or replacing whole room.
Yeah, we've when I go into the scope of Vortex, they're going to come out on the site as soon as areas are opened up, and if they see more, they'll ask for more. We'll take it out of that 40,000 allowance. Where there's a couple areas that the advisory group was concerned with. above the ceiling, which wasn't directly identified by Vortex. So we want to look at those areas and maybe pull a little bit more
I
wallboard
mean,
off
and there's also a water stain on that.
on that ceiling tile. Yeah.
Right there, which-
Yeah, no, they
Open the walls.
yeah, exactly. So we've, part of the instructions are for the school district to pull ceiling tiles that have the moisture, any kind of moisture staining like that, and get them out of the building as soon as possible.
Yeah, the only thing, there might be like a boring strip of the gypsum board above the drop ceiling that needs to.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we just want to make sure we get all those mold spores before, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Does this come from the contingency?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it would. And let me just
Maybe I
update
got
everyone on where we're at right now so that it give you a little better feeling because this is a pretty big number here. And I did speak with project manager from Tower this afternoon about that $40,000 number. He, like he said, because we don't have the report, we don't know what we're gonna run into. And we want to be conservative here because we don't want to have to ask for everyone to come back in next week. So I'd like to try to get enough money so that we're safe no matter what happens, but he agreed. He thought that, it probably wouldn't be that much, but again, we just don't know right now. We're hoping we saw the worst of it. But after what has been approved to date, which would be anything that's from before ESBC or our change order review group and actually been approved, which are the previous change orders for the removal of the wall covering, all three of them, and
And the alternates.
all the alternates, excuse me, thank
Yeah.
you. That leaves us, I'm just gonna do totals first, and then if you'd like to see breakdowns, I can give you that. That gives us a total remaining contingency globally across the project of $2,119,931. So we're over 2 million for the contingency for all three.
All three?
Mhm. And we have a remaining balance that has not been allocated to a school yet of $1,039,965. So that means we have a total surplus, not yet committed, of $3,160,000, which is a good thing, a good thing.
This is why we have project contingencies when you obviously have something where you're dealing with some latent moisture damage, we're thankful that we've uncovered it before it has become an issue.
Exactly, I mean,
So that
honestly,
we can
this,
deal with it.
except, it would have been nice if we saw this a month ago, so we wouldn't possibly be paying premium time, but
Right.
besides that, it's pretty much the best case scenario that no one's in the school, and we're able to get this done while the kids aren't there because it would have affected the operation.
The only other thing, has the wall been opened and taken a look in there or no?
We just authorized the demo on Monday. They were ready to go, so they probably put up containment and air scrubbers yesterday. They might have started the removal. We're gonna be on site tomorrow and we'll be able to know that. If you're interested, we could make sure to reach out to you and let you know that.
No, I'm just water.
We'll have an update.
Just in case there's like rotted sills or something like that in addition to that.
Well, the good thing is the building is made of steel, so, it might be a little rusty, but the structural integrity shouldn't be affected by the moisture infiltration that we had.
Is that mostly in the downstairs or?
It's all 6 classrooms downstairs, 4 of the classrooms upstairs. Again, the slab moisture was responsible for downstairs, the roof was responsible for upstairs.
And the culprit truly is that final wall covering. It acted as a greenhouse. The moisture got behind it and gave it something to eat.
Yeah, the adhesive seemed to be the food that it
Yes.
wanted to stop.
Okay, so I think the whole reason why we're meeting tonight is to have a formal authorization to be able to move this along. And the reason being is that we are not meeting again as a group until August 14th, which is 3 weeks from today. So these are summer slammers. We're uncovering a lot of stuff in a relatively short amount of time. So we need to be able to give the project team the tools to make sure that they're able to address them in this are there any other questions to Ashley or Deb regarding this thing?
I make a motion to approve the $86,000, $86,351.02 change order.
Not to exceed.
Not to exceed.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None? Okay,
One more thing, because this was an emergency situation, when I first spoke to Vortex, the time from when I went over the timeline, from the time we found out about this to the time that everything was implemented into the CCD, was about 4 working days. And Vortex took it upon themselves to go out to the site, review the conditions and do that. That's a little cart before the horse of what I'm going to talk to you about right now. He has submitted a change service to his scope of work. This could be handled through the school directly, but then you have to go through the NPA and everything else. We already have him under contract. We're waiving the markup on his work. We've had we've had about 12 hours of time put in on this for this work. So what we're asking for is if you would be willing to make a motion to amend our services in the amount of $10,300 for this
So
work.
essentially, we're either gonna pay it through the school for 13,000 or through this for 10,000.
Well, if we went through the school, there'd be other I don't know what other
So,
costs, yeah.
Just,
Right.
We already have a contract with them, we have a meeting to extend his
Yeah.
work.
Yeah.
This is the breakdown, and, so where we're at right now is, he should have, we're gonna find out tomorrow morning if he's gone out to do the kindergarten wing yet. When we have our regular job meeting, he's gonna prepare a written report. At this point, it's gonna be for record, we're working off his field notes, so we can keep moving as fast as possible. And then he is going to, he's accounting for 2 site visits if they open up all the walls, to look and see if there's any additional removal. He's also gonna do a post remediation inspection and a report. Again, maybe we can talk to him about, maybe we'll have everything open in one shot, he can do everything in one visit, to save a little bit. But this is the total that he sent to us.
so the important thing, I think, for the owner's records is the post remediation inspection and follow-up report.
Yes,
As something that, because we have kind of a recognized issue, we need to make sure that there's a professional that oversees these things that will then be able to write a report. So it's just something that is, if we don't have it, and maybe there are questions afterwards about X, Y, and Z, we would just rather be able to have this so that we will have it in our records that this was a situation that came up and we addressed it responsibly and legally the way that we're
correct.
compelled to do so.
I think what Justin is just prompting me to say too is that we are not experts on the remediation of this type. That's why we have Vortex on board to do this kind of thing. So that's why we acted. We did incur the burden of $2,700 to act fast on this. So we do apologize, but it was in an emergency situation that had to get resolved. So we can be before you today on all this. So if you're willing to make a motion, we'd appreciate it.
make a motion to approve any service change request for $10,300 for the services of Vertex and the DVW in remediation.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? None. Okay, motion carries. Mike, I'm sorry. I think, does anybody remember who called the motion, the first motion and second?
I call both.
Okay. And
I seconded the first.
Dan, Kristen, and then Dan, Mike. Okay, so the important thing is, as we're, going through some of our contingency dollars, that are there for these type of situations, is that we start getting these kind of monthly reports of where we're drawing down
Every meeting, I'll
contingency.
come
Yeah.
with a.
I wouldn't say every meeting,
No?
but once a
Okay.
month,
Alright.
if we're doing invoices, just to understand where we are.
Beginning with
Yeah.
the first one of the month.
Because there will be big ones, there will be small ones, there will be ones that are time critical, like these ones that we need to make sure that we can move.
Yeah, I plan on giving the committee a full update on construction and the 14th, because we'll be looking at a requisition at that point, so they want to know what you're paying for. I can report that, they have, completed the excavations at Dunn's. We didn't find any ledge or very large boulders. We found a few medium-sized boulders. We did find some unsuitables that was included in the, geotech report, and it was covered by allowances that we had, so we are not incurring any excavation costs at this time that we're aware of. So that's a good thing. That's what they talk about, getting out of the ground and not and running into things that you don't know. So,
And I know Mark McKinnon is on vacation this week, but, we got good news that Dunn's on his side of responsibilities is that he was looking at an issue with the drainage pipe that went down the corridor and possibly having to cut open that corridor floor to replace it. But he was successful with finding a company to come in and line that pipe. And,
that's news to me. Good. I'm glad.
yeah. And we worked it out with the contractor,
Yeah.
slow down a little bit, they're flying and putting the floor down, so.
Okay, any other questions for these guys? The one thing that so just before we move on to public comment and adjournment, our next meeting is the 14th with a potential, if we need to have another meeting, for the 28th of August. We also are tentatively, per the last meeting, we're tentatively scheduling a groundbreaking for Thursday, August 29th at 3:30.
That's what I have.
At State Street, so you and all of the other elected members of the elected bodies will receive an invitation.
Okay.
But we thought, since we've been doing all of the kind of summer slammer work at Springbrook and Dunn's and started the site mobilization at State Street before students come back to school, be a nice opportunity to kind of have a celebration of kicking off all three projects.
I think that's a great idea.
That is the night of the ice cream social for Dunsmore.
Okay, but that's later, right?
Yeah, that's
Until that.
There you go.
So more details to come on that, but we'll,
I don't want to speak out of turn. I don't think we would have anything on the 28th of August, because at that point, we're already back into school.
Yeah.
So I don't anticipate any issues, but you never know.
yeah. Okay. Anything else for the good of the order? Okay, we do not have any additional public comments, so before we have a motion to adjourn, I want to thank everybody for being able to quickly kind of assemble and move this along. This is exactly the type of commitment that we need as a body to be able to give the appropriate resources to our team to make sure that everything's working. Money moves projects, so it's good. So thank you. With that, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Like that, perfect.